I think we're all have absorbed that scamming is big and is going on, but where really is this coming from? Who's doing this stuff? Obviously, so who's doing this stuff? Obviously, it requires layers of organization, and I was surprised to find out so much of it was coming out of this zone, this golden triangle of Southeast Asia. So first of all, some casinos were built in this area. King's Roman, or Roman's King casinos. And this, remember, this is, so the Chinese gangster, there's a few different names. I'm not going to bother with their names. I wouldn't pronounce them right. They were doing things like putting up $50 million to build a port for ships to land where boats with crystal meth and could land. And like, this is just a total criminal paradise, I guess, you know, gangster's paradise, literally. And so first these casinos went up. And mind you, this is just across the Chinese border. China now obviously has a lot of residents with money. China has a huge middle class. China has a lot of kind of rich people. And they want to go and play. They like to gamble. Some of them, you know, they like Chinese like to, they're not a godly people. They like to smoke cigarettes. They like to do different substances. They like, maybe, you know, well, they like to pay people for their time. If you didn't know, Courtney Brown hit me to the fact, when you go to Guangzhou, which is the biggest entrepot for trade, where you might go to get anything made, from a prefabricated house to clothing to whatever they're making in China. You could go there to trade shows and meet people. At the hotels, at the chain hotels, there's brothels in the hotels. This is in China, so that's part of their culture. But so anyways, in this Golden Triangle area, in the border of Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia, where there's really no law, they have built cities out of the jungle with skyscrapers. Where there was nothing 10 years ago, there's 50, 25-story office buildings with bars on the inside, windows. And Wired and other journalists, Wired is a magazine, go to wired.com, have gone there over the last couple years, sometimes by invitation, sometimes sneaking in. And there's about 9 casinos open there. You would go in the casinos, which are like big neon lit casinos. They're not rinky-dink. Really not many people in there. There's nightclubs. There's all these businesses like a Las Vegas, but there's really no minimal visitors. Because remember, if you're in China and you want to gamble, you go to Macau. Macau is like Hong Kong. It used to be a British Portuguese colony, and now it's part of China, and it has legal gambling. Macau's volume of gambling is like 6-1 to Vegas. So what would be attracting people to these casinos here? Well, I think the casinos are just a front. The casinos, well, when one reporter went, you could go, he said he went to a casino, these are built up nice casinos, like mini Las Vegas casinos. They're not rinky dink. Not much action going on as far as people playing, but men were showing up and going to the window where you trade chips for money in different currencies, and with duffel bags of Chinese currency and turning it into checks and then turning chips into cash that they were walking out with. And it appeared to be an open money laundering. That perhaps if you were a criminal from anywhere and you could get there, which required bribing your way into Laos and other things, you could turn millions in cash into maybe transferable chips or a check from a Chinese company or something like that. Now, the pig butchering thing I mentioned. So, what is going on in the world of scamming as far as in Southeast Asia? And when I said Red Bull is his name, pig butchering is his game. This Wired article that was so fascinating. The Wired journalist who writes about cybercrime, he gets a message on Signal or Telegram. You guys hip to Signal and Telegram? It's where you guys send do your DL activities or sell your drugs or whatever it is you do. I use it for journalism. That's why I know about it. But yeah, so whatever, he gets a Telegram message from a guy talking real fast and purporting to work at one of these massive scam call centers set up in the jungle. And when we say massive scam, these are office buildings, like a U.S. office building with barracks that have many hundreds of people at any given time. There's been an estimated now maybe 250,000 people tricked into like a sort of temporary semi-slavery at these places. So they have built these call centers and they have these barracks, and they're set up in this free zone funded by gangsters. It's on the border of 3 countries, and it's an autonomous zone of a very weak country, Myanmar or Laos. So it's under nobody's law, really. So they've invested the videos of it, you can look online. It looks like a Chinese city. It looks more built up than most American cities. But it's all for scamming and fraud. So what they're doing, many things has brought this to light, but just in the last couple of weeks, there was a big thing out of China where a Chinese male actor in his early 20s, not a super famous guy, but a guy like a professional actor with a girlfriend, like with a life, who's been in a couple things, who can't just, I ain't heard from Al Prophet in a month. I wonder what's up with him. No. Ain't nobody been in touch with Al Prophet for 48 hours. We're going to check on him. Well, same thing with this Chinese actor. His girlfriend went to social media and said, my boyfriend responded to this job interview in Thailand to do model, to get like a male model photo shoot. I ain't heard from him. So China, does look out for its citizens, especially now so many are getting scammed by these Chinese gangsters that have set up in Cambodia, Laos, not Thailand, in Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar. So they what they had done to this guy is the same thing they did to Red Bull, who I mentioned in the beginning, and I'm about to circle back to. And they have done to hundreds of thousands of people, mostly from Southeast Asia, a lot from East Africa, Ethiopia, and even some from reports, white-looking European people. They lure you with the job interview. They fly you to, depending, like if you're a more desirable, like if you're a 25-year-old blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, they'll probably fly you to Bangkok, and they're going to make it really seem like, a big corporation is hiring you. And for those who don't know, Bangkok's the most #1 tourist city in the world. Bangkok has huge skyscrapers. Bangkok's much more developed than, say, Detroit. And Detroit's a big city in America. So Bangkok, you're not going to go to Bangkok and necessarily feel like, this is shady. Bangkok is like being in Chicago. Except you can get pad thai all over the place. So this Chinese actor had been lured in by one of these employment schemes, like hundreds of thousands of others have, and they make you sign. They take your passport and they make you sign a contract to work there for a year. And depending on whether you're physically attractive, you're a man, you're a woman, you know how to talk, you're good with computers, they're going to assign you a different role in the scam, and it's called pig, well, find the pig, fatten the pig, butcher the pig. So most of it is romance scams. They're hanging out on the on social media, also the dating apps. But there's a couple steps to it. I mean, they don't just, hey, I'm a 21-year-old girl and I see you're a 59-year-old man in the United States. I love you. Send me money. That isn't going to work. So they just make friends with these people. And remind you, so these people like, okay, so they get to Red Bull contacted this, sent a signal message or telegram message to this journalist at Wired saying, I'm being held hostage. They're forcing us to scam. They kill people here. This needs to end. This is awful. So they're going back and forth. And it's interesting, the Wired writer it becomes a point in the article of kind of like, is this like a double reverse scam where you're trying, because the guy starts saying they're on to me, I'm in trouble, can somebody send me some money? But he shows all this footage. There's this massive, it's like a college campus. They're living in these dorms and they're being paid $500 a month US, which is kind of a lot, but they're fined every day. Oh, you didn't scam anyone today? That cost you $30. The meals cost money. So really, once they got them there, their only cost, because they're scamming them out of all their pay back. By the time the end of the month comes and you're supposed to get your $500, if you ain't scammed nobody, and even if you did, they scam you out of it, because this Red Bull did successfully hit for a couple thousand and they didn't even give them any money. And you're in a remote area, you can't leave. There's footage. BBC has a pig butchering documentary if you're interested. It shows footage. I'm not going to show of people being hit with cattle prods, like little Asian men, like the guys who massage you at the mall. Because they didn't sell enough. So, and they have it's a whole elaborate, so they have sets of people, mainly men, that will pull. Well, first they have women come in and take photos, and then they use also AI, and they create this social media profile. So you may be running 30 social media profiles. They probably do GAY stuff too, I'm sure. You may be running 50 social media profiles. That's what I say, man. If you're trying to get yourself going on social media, if you ain't got like 4 or 5 profiles, you ain't working, baby. So, and they're sitting in like a call center environment where there's a supervisor on a computer, like an Indian, and then there's like a Chinese gangster intimidating him, and they're like banging on it. We need more leads. You know, it's a boiler room. And you're supposed to get these people into these kind of friendly, not necessarily romance, but it starts kind of friendly. But the double trick is, instead of like just, oh, I'm in love with you, give me money, a lot of it is they say, oh, because see, now here's what they've learned. A person with some money doesn't trust a person he thinks he has a lot less money, right? Rich guy is dubious that the poor girl likes him. But if you meet an attractive young lady and she is showing, oh, she already lives in an expensive apartment and she has a Mercedes. Oh, she's an investor. Oh, she used to work at Whoop-de-Wop and sell smoothies, but she got in on this crypto coin and boop, 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 and she likes me so much she's gonna hook me up with her guy that hooked her into the crypto coin so I can make some money too. That's what they're doing. And they drain them. They get, when Red Bull contacted the Wired guy, he was saying, hey, call the FBI, we can make an interdiction. They ended up not doing it because they didn't want to blow, it was too early in the case, but they had been hitting somebody. I don't know where the Wired guy lives. I assume in California, the journalist. Probably California or New York. Someone that was fairly near to him physically was actually the target of one of these pig butchering scams. They had been met online and kind of romance and made to feel they were getting access to these investments. And the person's bank or the person's crypto exchange shut down because, you know, your bank, if you move your own money in a funny way, it'll put a pause on it. That's for your protection. And you suddenly start sending all your money to some crypto wallet in Thailand or something, it'll stop it. So these people had found, they had probably went through their networks, and whoever was going to do it had no idea who he was even doing it for, was going to drive into this American neighborhood. Oh shit, they caught, that's right. If this is popular and I go more in depth, there was a video police on one of those police dash cam videos. They caught one of these guys. It's a young Indian guy, and he was picking up like $50,000 in gold bars for some reason from someone in some neighborhood in Florida. That must have been, I don't know if it was part of the same case, but like that's, if they got you on the hook and your bank isn't releasing money, they'll go down and they'll find someone in America to come pick the money up. Probably an Asian, Malaysian, whatever, to come pick it up. And if you're Muslim, they got that Helwa system where they move valuables. They can move money without interest because interest is haram. A lot of Helwa systems is used in big drug trafficking because it's based on trust. Like, if Al Prophet gives Muslim A $1 million in Iraq, then Muslim B in New York will extend Al Prophet $1 million in U.S. cash when he gets there because he know his brother in Hawaii in Iraq wouldn't lie to him. And they really have it. Now, of course, there's some way they make profit. I don't know that much about it. But so anyway, so they have caught these people doing this. It's getting that widespread. And the scamming is very lucrative because when you get a person, they were getting people for, there were multiple people hit for $100,000. There was some poor guy sent a video. His heart was so broken. He sent a video to the scammer to try to make him feel bad, sitting in his car crying, "I've lost my whole life savings. I thought you would be my special girlfriend." And of course, they just passing it around the office and laughing at him, which is fucked up. But so the plot gets thicker. So remember I said the Ming family's all about to be executed? Those people alone, that one family alone, has generated over $1 billion in profits off scamming in the last 7 or 8 years. And if they're one of the families they're going to let get executed, you know how China works. That means the big people, they're going to execute some small people just to send a warning. So the small people are making $100-200 million a year. And so Red Bull is texting back and forth with this wired correspondent, and he starts to think he's giving them video of all the places, and they realize, oh, this is a real thing. And he starts to feel like, oh, I need to get out of here. And he asks for some money. Well, he says, if I'm given this much money, I can pay my way out of here. And to me, Wired should have just gave him the money. But they're like, oh, it's journalism, we can't pay, and he might be scamming us. So what if he was scamming you because you already got a story? You're going to make some money off of it. So they never sent him any money. And he got beaten. He was cattle prodded. He got sick. But pressure started to come from outside. The Chinese government because this has been going on for some years, there was some pressure from the outside. So one random day, our man Red Bull was giving back his passport. They didn't even let him go to his room to get his stuff. He had to leave in flip-flops. They drove him to the border. Get the fuck on. So he was able to make it back to India. He actually hooked up with the Wired reporter and met him in India. And so he was a real guy that had been. So Red Bull's story was he grew up poor in Pakistan. Very poor parents. He had to go to school with a rope around his belt, with a rope around his pants for a belt. His parents sent him to his grandparents who would beat him. And then they met some school teachers who were like, "Oh, you're smart. We'll pay for you to go to go to a private school, but you got to be our house slave." So he was a slave. Like, when you really start reading what's going on in a lot of these countries, man, I mean, I've always known that while there's a lot of bad things to say about America, there's a lot of bad things to say about everywhere. I'd rather be here than maybe not anywhere else, but damn near most anywhere else. If you got money, you can end up in a bad position in the United States. The United States is a sink or swim kind of place, but that's another story. So our man Red Bull, he's working as a houseboy for these teachers. Finally, he runs off. He starts working. He saves enough money to buy his own used $200 laptop. He finds a job opening for an IT specialist that's going to pay $1,700. Oh, he had like graduated. He had got like a little certificate for doing computer stuff. He was going to be making $1,700 a month US and living on campus in Bangkok. You could save a lot of real money. He gets to Bangkok. They drive him to the border. They cross him over into this zone, take his passport. Now you're stuck for a year. So these are the hundreds of thousands of people that have been shanghaied like that and forced into scamming. The Chinese government started conducting raids when there's some Chinese abductees basically tried to escape. Like 14 of them were killed by some of these gangsters. So China, you know, with crime and gangster stuff, like the government lets you get away with things to a degree. And then once you cross that line, they act like they don't know you. But you were letting me sell drugs over here. But y'all done let an 8-year-old girl get killed and it was on the front page of the news. So we about to run down on you and you all getting 40 years. But it was all good just a week ago. Yeah, but you messed up. So when you're allowed criminal power by the government, you better understand your responsibilities with it. So they've been cracking down in that area. Things have moved. But now they say Cambodia, which is one of the up-and-coming, like Vietnam has become a bustling, great economy, manufactures a lot of the goods that China used to manufacture. Cambodia has become the new Vietnam, like the lowest on the food chain as far as a big country with a big population that can manufacture stuff. But they say now scamming is the single largest business in the nation of Cambodia. Capital Phnom Penh. Cambodia is a very ancient civilization that's not a spinoff of China. Angkor Wat, look it up. ANGKOR space WAT. So I just thought like this was pretty fascinating insight into what's making money now. Even the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, El Mencho, CLCJNG, one of their big money-making scams they just busted, they were selling fake timeshares. You know what a timeshare is? Timeshare is, hey, Joe Blow, there's a condominium, 3-bedroom, 2-bath condominium in wherever, Miami, Puerto Vallarta, Vail, Colorado. It's $1 million. You'll pay $80,000 and you have access to use it 16 days a year. So your mortgage payment is $1,100 a month for 10 years. but you can schedule 15 days of use. That's your timeshare. And some timeshares are good and some timeshares are bad. A lot of money has been made on timeshares. CJNG getting in on the phone scamming. I mean, no better money than free money. I mean, tripling your money on some dope is great, but if I can just call you on the phone and get you to send me a couple thousand, just ask all those girls that's been finessing. Because there's a lot of y'all. But they got a whole team down there in that Southeast Asian zone where it's a man, maybe middle-aged man talking to you. It's a girl taking pictures. If you request a FaceTime, you ever meet anybody? It's funny. I only time I go on the online dating stuff is to troll. Because years ago, I was like, is this all some type of scam? You'll be talking to somebody and it's going like, oh, going kind of cool. If you're both regular Americans and you're like, hey, let's do a FaceTime, let's do this type of call, that's not a problem. Oh, they need 36 hours and I'm at work and tomorrow, just because they got to get a different member of the team to butcher you, you pig. Now, it is interesting, though, they use the metaphor, or they use the animal, they use the pig. A pig does what? A pig eats anything. And so just remember, when you're out here on the internet or on the city streets and you're looking to do things, just maybe trying to get high, you're trying to have sex with a woman you don't know, you're a target, you're a pig, and someone may try to butcher you. So just know that. But it's sad as far as with the romance thing, because, you know, it's a lot of lonely people. You might think it's hard to believe, how does someone fall for, you know, you're just some 60-year-old guy and a 28-year-old beautiful Chinese woman who lives in a big apartment downtown and drives a Mercedes. She really likes you and wants to hip you to crypto tips. They're looking for pig people who, oh, a beautiful girl likes me and she's going to give me a tip on money. It's, you know, preying on people that probably don't have a good sense of themselves. But nonetheless, they're executing people in China. They're about to execute 11. There's a bunch more on deck. The raid vans is rolling. But if it's going on in that part of the world, you can best believe it's going on all over the world. And I will leave you with this personal anecdote. When I had a misunderstanding with law enforcement in Arizona and had to do a year involving me trying to bring hemp products to my fellow Americans, which are now legal. At one point, they put me in work release. So they had jobs that would accept the work release people. So they had the muscle jobs. And though I got those, I ain't going to push no boxes in jail. So they gave me the list for the brain jobs, which were call centers. So while on work release, I go work at a call center that's set up by the work release. And I hated it so bad. We were stealing people's money. I couldn't take it. And I was drinking. And they caught me drinking. So I got kicked out and I got put back in the regular jail, which was better. And about 2 or 3 weeks after that, because it was so shady what they were doing, I couldn't take it. The FBI raided the call center that the jail was sending inmates to work at. I wonder, did anybody get in it? What if I had risen to like a supervisor? I mean, would I be able to use as defense the jail sent me here? I mean, shady world we live in, man. So be careful. But if you're interested in this, go look up pig slaughtering scams. There's a whole nother world of crime outside of D-rugs and all this stuff they're trying to mesmerize our mind with. And Somalis in Minnesota. Are the Somalis in Minnesota probably scamming? Probably. Fuck them. If you catch them, send them to jail. But there's bigger shit going on, like John Lick, the young man whose father has a contract with the U.S. government to hold seized up to $30 billion in seized crypto assets from criminals, and he stole $23 million of it from his father, and he would be on Telegram battling with people about, oh, who got much, who has more money, I'm flexing, and he would show his live Bitcoin wallet and move money around in it to prove he had 23 million. But that's a whole nother story I might get into. But today's story was about the butchering of the pig. You should not be on the online looking for the love. Look for the love around you and within. I am El Prophet. Peace, my children.